guys, so this is going to be the look I will be doing for you today. This is something that I've been wanting to do for a really long time, and I'm not really sure what to call it yet, but obviously you'll see in the title, but it's basically like an anti-Instagram kind of makeup. So this is the kind of makeup look that you'll see a lot from makeup artists that are like professionals, you know, in maybe high fashion world more so, editorial. So this kind of makeup technique is inspired by people like Lisa Eldridge or Charlotte Tilbury, people like that who are, you know, doing makeup on professionals, on, you know, actresses, stars, artists, people like that. And this is the kind of look that you'll see them do. So it's more of a soft face makeup. You see shape on the face, but you don't necessarily see a harsh contour line. It's using more minimal products, more light coverages, but applied in the right way, so your face still looks very flawless, but it doesn't look thick and heavy. This is not the baking. This is not the heavy contour highlight, heavy concealing, heavy foundation. This isn't the really structured eye look or the really structured eyebrow. You're gonna have a fluffy brow, a softer, more blended eye look. Still defined, the whole face is still defined, but it almost looks more effortless and more real. So this is kind of what I'm doing for you today. Obviously, this is just my twist on it, my impression, and how I do it. There are so many different ways of doing makeup, and so obviously, you know, you can tailor this to your own style and how you like to do makeup, and say if you want to do a more full-on makeup look, that's up to you. So I don't want to offend anyone and make it seem like this is the better way and the Instagram way is, you know, not good, because I think you all know that that's kind of the style I usually like. But this is one of the first times I've ever really done this kind of look, and seeing myself in it, I really like it much better than the full-on beat-down looks I usually do, because I feel like I still look like myself more in terms of myself without makeup, and I feel, you know, just very feminine. I feel more professional looking, and I just feel more nice. I don't know, something about it I really like. So I hope you guys like it too. I hope you can find some tips and tricks to, you know, kind of do this on your own. I will definitely link Charlotte Tilbury's channel as well as Lisa Eldridge below, because they're two big inspirations for me in terms of makeup artistry, and I think you guys will like them a lot too if you're not already following them, which I'm sure you are. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing. Please thumbs up if you like this, comment below, let me know anything else you want to see, and if you'd like to see how to do this makeup look, then please stay tuned. I'm starting out by priming and moisturizing with the Mineralized Time Check Lotion from MAC, and then I'm using my Estee Lauder Double Wear Light in the colors 3.5 and 0.5, and with a Real Techniques brush, I'm going to be buffing that all over my face. So what you want to try to do here is take the smallest amount of foundation possible and really buff it in as best as you can, so you get almost just like almost no foundation. You kind of want just the thinnest layer that will pretty much just even out any redness or anything like that, but just try to do it as thin as possible. Then I'm going to take Studio Finish Concealer from MAC in the color NC30 from this palette with a small eyeliner brush, and you're just going to dot the concealer on any little blemishes you have and then dab it in with your finger. So at this point you're getting like a full coverage in the sense of there's going to be no blemishes visible, but with the least amount of product on your face as possible. For the under, I'm going to use the Prep and Prime highlighting pen in the color Radiant Rose on another Real Techniques brush, and just use a small little dot of that, and again blend it out as far as you can with as little amount of product as you can. Just really blend it into that foundation in your skin, and make sure it's blended out. So I blended on the inner corner, all around, you know, the cheek area, so it just sort of fades into everything really lightly. After that, I'm taking Shell Cream Color Base from MAC with the same exact brush, and I'm just going to apply this on my cheekbone as well as down the center of my face. And this gives a really pretty natural glow because it's a creamy product. It kind of melts into the skin and becomes a part of the skin. So even though we're going to powder over top of it, it'll look like I have just this natural glow coming from within my skin. I'm going to take the Laura Mercier translucent setting powder and very, very lightly
apply that all over my face with this Hakuhodo S102 brush. It's a very, very, very soft brush, and so it gives such a nice light dusting of powder. It works perfectly for this, and that's kind of what you want, a very, very light dusting of this powder, just where everything's locked in, but nothing looks thick or heavy. After that, I'm going to start on the eyes. So I'm taking the LORAC Primer and putting that all over my eyes and then setting it with that Laura Mercier powder on this small e.l.f. brush. And that's just going to even out the texture and tone of our eyelids before we start doing any eye makeup. Next, I'm going to take Teddy Eye Kohl from MAC and apply this along my lash line and very lightly wing it out and kind of get a nice, good, thick layer of this in sort of a thick little wing shape. And then we're going to go in with a MAC 217 brush to blend this in. So basically what this is going to do is it's going to act as obviously a colored base for our eyeshadows to stick to and be more vibrant. But this is almost the main focus, I guess, or the color of the eyeshadow. So in this technique, you kind of want to take the most minimal amount of product to get the look you're going for. So by doing this, I'm just going to very lightly apply an eyeshadow on top. And this already has a colored base to it, so I won't need to put as much eyeshadow on. The eyeshadow is more just for some added effect on top of this liner. So again, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side and blend it in with that 217 brush. And now I have a nice wash of color on my lid in a nice shape, and I won't have to apply as much eyeshadow. I can just do it very lightly. So I'm going to take the Naked 3 palette and this middle copper shade right here, and using that same exact brush, I'm just going to pack this on the eyelid. And this is, I'm only using 2 eyeshadows. With this kind of technique, you don't necessarily need like a crease color and a lid color and inner corner color, you know, an outer corner color and, you know, the under eye color. Like all that excess is not needed. You're just going to take this nice soft medium tone shimmery shade, apply it all over the lid and under the eye, and what that's going to do is naturally when the light hits it, it will have its own highlights and contours just by the light hitting it, which will create depth and highlight, so you don't feel like you need to go overboard. I did take just a little bit of a darker brown just in the outer corner of the eye and the under eye, but that's the only kind of other contour color I'm using. Otherwise, I just have that lid color, and then here I'm softly blending it out with the same exact lid color, just so that it flows up from the lid area and everything looks really soft. So as you can see, I look like I did a lot more eyeshadow than I actually did. It looks more effortless, and I also smudged mascara on the side of my eye, which I absolutely hate doing that. But yeah, so next I'm just applying this Upward Lash Mascara from MAC, and I'm doing a thin coat of that, and then I'm going to go back with the Teddy pencil to just make sure it's nice and saturated on the lash line. And then I'm going to let that mascara on my skin dry, and I'll just take it off with a spoolie later because it's so much easier than trying to wipe it off when it's wet. I promise. Just let it dry and then basically like peel it off. I'm applying the Salon Perfect Demi Wispies. These are a perfect mix of being natural but still giving you a little oomph, I guess, with your lashes. I highly recommend these. And I'm just applying those with a lash tweezer and then pressing them in. The inner corners of my eyes have been really like wet lately, I think from just like allergies and my eyes are watery, so like that's why in the beginning of the video the eyelash wasn't stuck in the inner corner. So annoying. But yeah, so don't mind that little eyelash on the inner corner. For my eyebrows, I'm going to take this Longwear Waterproof Brow Set in the color Emphatically Blonde. These are absolutely amazing for getting a thick, fluffy eyebrow look. So with this kind of makeup look, you want your eyebrows to look natural but still defined. So you basically want them to look hairy, but like a good hairy, if that makes sense. So this brow mascara is actually plumping, I find, for the eyebrow hair, so it almost adds a little volume to the brow hair, which is nice. So I just applied that, and then I'm using my Stylized brow pencil to just define the outer edges just a little bit. Don't feel like you need to go overboard with this. I did it so lightly because I still wanted my hair in my brow to look really fluffy and natural, but needed just a little bit of extra definition in the outer corners of my brows because they tend to be a little more sparse and they do not like to work with me. So then for my cheekbones, I am taking the Bone Beige contour powder from MAC in that little duo, and using a 168 brush from MAC, I'm going to blend that in, and I'm doing a very light amount of this. This is very different than what I usually do, but again, I like it because it looks just like natural shadows on the face, using such a light contour color and using it in a way that's very blended out, it looks so much more realistic. I love it. So then I'm going to take this Milani blush in the color Dolce Pink, one of my favorite blushes ever. Whenever I wear this, my skin just looks like I have this natural flush to it. It does not look fake or like it's sitting on top of my skin. It literally just looks like this color is coming out of my cheeks naturally because maybe I'm cold or hot or just something, and it's just like that natural color coming out of my cheek. So next we're going to do the freckles. This is my favorite part ever. I've been doing this almost daily for the last couple weeks. And I take the soft brown Dipbrow from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and using a MAC 209 brush, I just apply dots everywhere. You want to be sporadic. You want some to be bigger, some to be smaller. You want some to be darker, some to be lighter, and just make it really random across your nose and your cheeks. I generally put darker dots on my nose because the sun would hit that more, and then I do lighter dots on my cheek area to make it look more natural, and then I also put a couple dots on my upper lip and my forehead, just to kind of round it out and keep it looking, again, really natural. And then I go in with my foundation brush afterwards, dab out the dots a little bit so they soften, and then go back in one more time and add a couple more dots, and it makes it look so realistic. It takes this makeup to another level of realism. It's amazing. I highly recommend you guys try that technique. And then I'm going to take Kittenish Patentpolish lip pencil from MAC. I applied a thin layer and then dab my foundation brush over it. So again, this looks like I just have a flush of pink in my lip, like a natural lip color. And then I'm taking my favorite lip liner ever, and this is the Whirl lip liner from MAC. And I'm very ever so lightly lining my lips. This is like the softest I've ever lined my lips. I'm barely touching the pencil to my lip, and then I'm kind of dabbing it in with my finger. But this is just giving a nice soft edge to my lips, so they look a little fuller and a little more pouty, but they don't look like heavily lined and filled in. It looks like I have almost no product on my lip in person. When you see it in person, it looks beautiful. So I'm finishing off the look by taking a little bit of dark Careblend powder from MAC on the same big powder brush we used for our face earlier, and just very lightly putting that over my face. This is not a necessary step. I just did this because I felt like I look a little pale in the bright lights from my lighting, but it's definitely not a necessary step. So that is the finished look. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it really helpful, and you got a lot of good tips and tricks from the video as well. If you have any questions, please let me know below, and thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.
Someone like, no, stop saying This is the kind of makeup that is inspired, no.